It's the Guardian series.
Alright, we have to do that time thing. We have to follow where this guy goes. He jumped.
Please fall off the ledge.
Oh my god.
Oh, he did.
That was suicide.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Infinity Wall. I am Larry Stahl coming at you on this fine Wednesday. We are following through with the Avengers week here on the channel. And so, that being said, we are here to sort of talk about one of the best characters of the MCU in my opinion. Really, when you get down to the pathos of it, he only ever had one solo movie, but in fact he is incredible, and I am of course talking about the Hulk. The Hulk is, of course, Robert Bruce Banner. For those of you that didn't know, Robert is actually his first name. And pretty much he was a scientist who was testing in gamma radiation with the United States military. And right before the gamma bomb was about to go off that they were testing, he had to go save the life of young Rick Jones, who was in the blast zone of it. And so he went out there, pushed Rick Jones into a ditch to help him avoid the gamma radiation, and everything absorbed inside of Bruce Banner, causing him to become the Hulk. Now, with his original origin, originally it was he became the Hulk at night, and it was not mood-based. But as more and more writers came along, and especially Peter David, who sort of made the Hulk a dichotomy of Bruce having sort of a suppressed childhood rage, and the Hulk kind of being his inner angry child self back when his mother was being abused. You know, there's a lot to really unpack with the character. Now, when it comes to his role on the Avengers, the Hulk was one of the original Avengers and was technically kind of a first villain for the Avengers, primarily because the Hulk was brainwashed by Loki, and the other four Avengers members, the Ant-Man, the Wasp, Thor, and Iron Man, all sort of came together to stop the Hulk. And when the Hulk had explained that it was Loki, the brother of Thor, who had brainwashed him, that's when things kind of got a little bit tricky, and so they all had to team up and go after Loki. Hulk was not a primary member of the Avengers, not for very long after. He ended up taking off with Namor. I think it was even before Captain America joined the team that he had taken off. Excuse me. So yeah, he had a very rough history with the Avengers, and because of the movies today, he is known as a primary member. But it hasn't really been until the movies came out that Hulk has been displayed as a primary member of the Avengers. In between the first few issues of Stan Lee's Avengers, all the way up until about 2008 to 2012, Hulk was barely in there. Like, he was barely an Avenger. So, you know, I do think it's cool that Hulk is kind of brought to the forefront now, because the psychology of his character is definitely an interesting one to dig into, and I highly recommend reading a lot of Peter David's Incredible Hulk stuff. Yeah, so when it comes to his role in the MCU, of course he was originally played by Edward Norton, who, I'm in the minority, I actually really like that movie. There is a lot to be desired, yes, but since it was a movie that came out before Disney bought Marvel, it was kind of like a special little thing. The movie had a much darker tone than movies going forward, you know, because if you guys remember, there was a gap in 2009 where no Marvel movies had released, and then we got to 2010 with Iron Man, and in that 2009 area is when Disney bought Marvel Studios and Marvel as a whole. And so when they went to go and do these movies with the Avengers, you know, Disney's influence kind of made them a little more lighthearted, which honestly I think was for the better, because I feel like the movies after Disney bought them are a better representation of what Marvel is. And, excuse me. Oh. Sorry about that. But the Disney influence on the Marvel movies is a better representation of what Marvel Comics is as a whole. Marvel usually isn't primarily dark like the first Iron Man and this Incredible Hulk movie were. And because of some disagreements with how the Hulk would be represented in the Avengers and so on, Edward Norton was taken out of the role, but he was recast by Joss Whedon. Mark Ruffalo stepped into the role, and ever since then he has been Bruce Banner. Like he is not exactly who I would have thought of to be Bruce Banner, but I can't imagine any other person playing that character in these movies now. Like, he has taken up such an iconic part, and a lot of people for years to come are going to remember Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. And so, like, going through with these movies, because of Universal technically owning the rights to the Hulk character, Universal wouldn't allow Marvel Studios to make a Hulk solo movie. But Hulk's subsequent appearances throughout the MCU have honestly been great. I love that Hulkbuster versus Hulk fight in Avengers Age of Ultron. I love the representation of the Hulk in the first Avengers movie, and I especially love him in Thor Ragnarok. And a lot of people are like, well, the Hulk's not supposed to be a joke like that. Well, you see, the thing is, think of it like this. Like I had said earlier, the Hulk in the comic books is sort of a manifestation of Bruce's inner angry child from back when his dad abused his mom. And they'll never bring that up in the MCU, primarily because I think the subject matter is too dark and they like to try to refrain from things like domestic abuse and things like that, which is why Hank Pym is actually kind of a decent guy in those Ant-Man movies. Which he shouldn't be. If you ask me, Hank Pym should be a villain, but that's a whole other different video. But pretty much think of it like this. Every time the Hulk comes out, Bruce gets angry and the Hulk comes out, it's like a child is being born. And like every time he becomes the Hulk and goes back to Banner, back to being the Hulk, it's like it's being born again and again and again. Which is why it can't immediately talk. It only wants to scream and lash out, because that's what a baby does. And so, like, in Thor Ragnarok, when Hulk actually starts talking, but he sounds like a child and he can't form full sentences or speak very big words or speak properly with grammar, that's primarily because it's like a baby had to learn English. It's like a baby learning English. Just from listening to its parents and the people around it. And so it can't form full sentences and it can't say big words, and it actually mispronounces big words when it tries. But it is able to talk and speak, not fluently, but clearly. And that's kind of what the Hulk ended up being in these movies. And so, like, his role in the MCU, especially the arc that they have been doing with Bruce Banner and the Hulk, starting in Ragnarok about control and things like that. I feel like that's going to be something that ties in very largely in Endgame. You know, there's actually been a lot of rumors that Professor Hulk is going to be a thing. That was a thing that Peter David had. It was either Peter David or David Michelinie back in the 90s books, who had kind of merged the two. So it was like Bruce Banner's brain and the Hulk's body. And I feel like we are going to get that in Endgame. A lot of concept art, and especially the poster that I've got off to the side over there kind of shows that, because it looks like a Hulk that's not angry and is in much more control of himself. And so, like, I feel like that's really going to be a case. Now, when it comes to the fate of the Hulk in the MCU, just like the Thor video that I had done previously, that's another character where I'm just going to have to say, I don't know. Primarily because, like, for example, with Iron Man, like Robert Downey Jr., I feel like he will end up dying or passing the torch or something in Avengers Endgame, primarily because of his age. You know, because, like, yeah, they can get in stunt doubles, and, you know, he's mostly CGI, but there are scenes where he has to do his own stunts, and he's just getting too old for that. That and his contract is up. Whereas with Bruce Banner, the character of the Hulk is entirely CGI. All the crazy stuff that happens to the Hulk, that's not Mark Ruffalo. That's Mark Ruffalo doing screen captures and everything else being CGI. So really, when it comes to him, I don't really know exactly what his fate is. I can tell you, though, I feel like Bruce is finally going to be in control of the Hulk, and I feel like that'll be a really, really good place to leave the Hulk at least, because that's something that Bruce has always wanted. He's either wanted to get rid of it or control it, and right now, because of this big story they're telling, starting from Ragnarok to Infinity War to Endgame, it's been all about control. And so I really think that that would be a good thing to bring up. But real quick before I end the video, there are a couple things that I would like to mention. First of all, we are still going to be doing our Avengers #1 No Road Home giveaway. If you guys can comment on any of the videos in the Avengers Week playlist on what you think is going to happen at the end of Endgame, and if you can guess it correctly or get the most correct comment, like, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly correct, but if you get the closest to being the most correct, you will win a free digital comics code. All I will need for you is your email, and I'll be able to send that your way. And especially since I'm going to go see Avengers Endgame on Friday, I should be able to tell you before the weekend is up. So yeah, not only that, there is also a really great Facebook group that I would like to spot right now. Their name is I Freaking Love Marvel Comics. They're an absolutely great group. If you want to go there, chat comics if you already love it, or you're trying to get into it and you're trying to find a good place to start, those are some good guys to go to, because they really know their stuff. And quite frankly, it feels so good to not be alone on being somebody who has been cursed with knowledge. Wink, wink. So anyways, that is going to be it for the video this Wednesday on the channel. So feel free to like and subscribe and leave that comment so that you could try to get that giveaway stuff. So anyways, this has been the Infinity Well. I'm Larry Stahl. And yeah, so face front, true believer. This is the end of the video.